We're talking all this time and our mic's not even on. This is how crazy things are right now. Okay, I've been doing all this explaining. I got to start
now?
all over. It's on now.
It's on now. Oh, okay.
So for those who are just joining us and trying to figure out what is wrong with us tonight.
Yes, it's not our fault.
Just as the show was about to begin, Facebook locked my account.
Locked it.
And y'all can ask Facebook why, but they said there was some suspicious activity and they locked the account down all of a sudden. So I had, right as we were getting down to like the 10-second countdown, stop the whole thing, reset my password, get back online, prove it was my account, and then get back online and start the stream again. So there's 2 streams right now going on our page. The one is frozen, the one that most people were already on.
Yes.
And now we're on a new one. So now it's got me all frazzled. So we're trying to keep up, catch up everything.
So
we are here. We're a little crazy right now, but hey, it's live. It's live. It's stuff that happens when it's live.
Yes. Okay.
So hello. Now you can hear us actually talking to you. I mean, I know it must look great with us miming things there. For the past 5 minutes
no one
or
said
so.
anything.
We're
they couldn't hear us.
Doing all kind of stuff here. Nothing's coming out. Y'all not really paying attention, are you? That's the truth. That's what's happening. Yeah, Latasha, I'm gonna get you. You didn't say nothing. Okay, you're in trouble already. Wait till you see you tomorrow. So we're on. We're live. We're here. I think everything is set and working now. Yikes. What an evening.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody. For those of you that are just coming in from the previous stream, etc., so forth. Glad to have you with us. See some numbers starting to creep up now. So wave at us, say hello or something. Let us know that you found us. Like, I found you. Yeah. What happened? Where were you? We found you. We're here. It wasn't us this time. It was definitely Facebook's fault. Mm-hmm. So
I'm going to close this one out. Mm-hmm. The first one. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they were protecting us. I see numbers coming up, people coming on. Maybe they were protecting us because, they had they said that there was suspicious activity. So I don't know whether somebody was trying to hack our account.
Could possibly.
And so they could be real funny and do crazy stuff.
Right.
In the middle
That's
of the
possible.
show.
That is possible. I have a friend that happened to, and she's like,
during our live
block
stream.
Some of this stuff.
So, who knows? But anyway, we're here now, catching up with things, kind of dragging, letting people come on board. But for all those that were on the previous stream, hope you've caught up and hope you're with us. And we'll keep rolling here tonight. So we got several things to talk about. It's been an interesting week, as many of them are. This one's not any different. There's been quite a bit of stuff going on. You see some people coming on now? Yeah, Esther. All right. Andre Brown. Sometimes this doesn't... Oh, you have to reset it. That's why. Duh. Yeah. Let's see what's going on. Mm-hmm. See if we got some more people. Okay. All right. So, yeah, sometimes... now I'm seeing some people coming on. Now we're seeing some activity. Now
she said she thought it was her
phone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Hey, it's possible. It could have been either one.
Not this time.
We might let you off on that one. Okay. Mm-hmm. But no, it was on our side this time. Just crazy. I'm trying to get my head back there. That throws you off.
It does.
That's me too. That was the phone. It's got to be me. No, it started with Facebook and then it just threw us off. So we're finally getting it together. But Saturday night.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah. Now breathe. Woosah. All right. We're here. Hello, everybody. Hello. Let's start again. Hello. It's 8:14. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Let's start the program now.
Okay.
Let's actually have a program now after all of that. Oh, my gosh. This will be edited before it goes to the YouTube channel, by the way. So all this, a lot of this craziness will go away. But for now, you're dealing with us live, so we get what we get. So anyway, several things happened this week to talk about, and want to throw some of them out at you. Get involved in the conversation. As you see the numbers below, you can always call us. You can comment as to what your thoughts are. One of the big things that happened for those of us here who are local in Rochester, New York, is officially the mayor, Lovely Warren, has tendered her resignation, which is a little bit disappointing. It's a little sad.
Yeah.
I tell you, I personally, I really liked her.
A lot of people.
Now let's not make it sound like she did. Liked her, past tense.
No. A lot of people love her.
Still like her. Still love her.
A lot of people in Rochester do like her.
I absolutely believe that she has always had the right intentions for this city
and the best
in her mind, in her heart, first and foremost. She has tried to do, I think, a lot to help the city. She's been very active always amazed me how she shows up in so many places at so many times. She has been very dedicated to being a part of the city, trying to do things for the city, trying to help both the city and the people. And so this is a little bit of this is a very bittersweet situation. I think in the long run, it may be the best thing for her.
Yes.
And her family, which is what she said, and that's good. And I think that's why she made the decision. So for those who aren't familiar with everything that was going on, there were several accusations that had been brought against her, right, over the past, really, it's been the past 2 years that a lot of stuff has been going on.
Yes.
But the thing that came up that really started trouble for her legally was campaign finance.
Campaign finance. Well, you know what? Also, there was some discrepancy in how she handled. They say how she handled the Daniel Prude situation as well.
Well, that started even before that, and that was a lot of drama,
right?
A lot of
and
questions,
it just heightened.
And it became this thing where his word, her word, he said, she said,
the police chief,
and a back and forth, which was very public,
right?
And did not necessarily clear either of them,
right?
And so that left a haze, and right in and around that, this other situation came up of campaign finance, which became a legal issue. And the Attorney General files charges, or the District Attorney, filed charges against her for campaign contributions in, I believe, her first term. Re-election campaign.
Re-election.
Sorry about that.
Re-election.
And that was actually one of the discussion topics in that re-election campaign. Some of the people that were running against her brought that up. And, she said she absolutely resisted and denied the fact that anything was done intentionally. If I remember correctly, first of all, it was about $125,000 that she was over the state limit for campaign funds. That was the issue. She was about 125 over. From what I understand, remember of it, someone had taken money from one account and moved it into another account. That would have brought them over the limit. And it also, I thought it was illegal, the two accounts that money was traded from. As soon as they found out, the money was put back. Right? But they were making this big case out of it at the time that, hey, this is illegal, this is inappropriate, shouldn't be done. She put the money back. It was a mistake, an error. She put the money right back as soon as she was aware of it. So there was really no gain out of what was done.
Right.
But it became a big deal. It got squashed during the election. People just were like, forget it. We love her. We're not going to worry about it. But then the Attorney General's office came back really just about a year ago, as this election was rising up again for the third term, and filed charges. And so they said they'd done exhaustive search, research, et cetera, decided to file charges. So that became another stink over the top of things. Then, even more recently, the situation happened with her husband being in some trouble, and the FBI following trails of other drug dealers. That led them to a trail of her husband, which ended up with them going into her house.
Home, right.
And in her home, they found a gun, and the gun was loaded, and her child was home, and nobody else was home. So that caused additional federal charges.
Right.
So it's just been like the snowball of issues that have been building up. Actually, even further back than that. The earlier ones were kind of blown off, but it's just been building up over this past term. And so finally the people earlier this year said, you know what, we got to go another way. And so they, in the primaries, voted for Malik Evans instead of Mayor Warren. And so she was already going to be leaving office. And so when the trial came up this week, apparently they made her a deal that settled all of the issues.
Yes.
And what she needed to do was she needed to leave a month early from when she would have been leaving, in December instead of January.
Right.
I mean, from her vantage point, it's not a bad deal, especially versus the risk.
The risk,
because
what could have happened
to her and her
family and her children,
and
her child.
There were two other people, campaign finance manager, I think the campaign manager, that were involved as well. So really, her decision to do that kind of took them all off the hook, which means that she wasn't just doing it for her; she was agreeing to this for their sake too. So she basically took a bullet for everybody. Yeah. Because she was really the major target of it. And so while she's no longer going to be in office, she wasn't going to be in office anyway. The big thing is if she had gone through with fighting it and lost, then first of all, it would have been a felony on her record.
A felony, right?
She would have lost her ability
convicted.
Well, she would have lost her lawyer's license.
She would have lost her license, right? Could
Which
have lost her custody of her
could have
child.
yeah, so there was a lot on the line for her.
Yes, a lot.
So you can kind of understand why she took the deal.
Right.
It's bittersweet because to see her leaving office this way is not the best thing. It's a lot better than if she had been found guilty.
Right.
It's a lot more dignified for her to be able to step up and basically do it her way.
Right.
Versus other things that could have happened. Mm-hmm. It protects her child, protects her family, protects those that were working for her and with her. And protects her license. So I could understand why she takes this deal. It becomes a misdemeanor now instead of a felony.
Right.
So I can understand why she takes the deal.
And she's leaving just a month
early anyway.
Just 1 month early.
So at this point, that decision was almost essentially made. I mean, they still have the full elections, but presumptive it's not gonna be her. So in fact, she's not in the final election, I don't think, at all. Mm-hmm. So it's probably good for her. The one thing that I feel good about is that as you see her now and you see what she's doing publicly, it seems to have brought somewhat of a peace to her.
I'm sure.
Because you can imagine how much stress all this has been, the fight, the battle,
right,
to defend your name, defend your reputation, the struggle of decisions, what to do, so many people looking at you. I mean, it's a rough situation.
It really is. I think she was under heavy scrutiny.
Oh, heavy is nothing.
Right, yes,
heavy,
a
right.
lot of scrutiny. And, I can't say, or I think I can have my opinion, but I think maybe possibly somewhere somebody wanted her to step down.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would prefer that she step down.
Yes.
The question is, was a lot of this just politically motivated, or was it real?
Was it real, or was it politically motivated?
I think from what we've seen, there was some reality to it. Mm-hmm. I think there was some evidence behind these things. And, the question is, was it just used against? I mean, you can go back to Cuomo and say the same thing.
Exactly.
Did he do some of the stuff that came up? Yeah, probably did.
Yeah.
Was it really brought to light and pushed against him because, the political malice?
Right.
Yeah. It was certainly, there were certainly people who
Someone
really
else had
wanted to take advantage of the situation and did. Mm-hmm. And there were people in town that really did not like her.
Yes.
Right.
There were people that loved her, but, there were people that did not like her as well.
From the first term, her first election, they were trying they didn't expect her to win.
Right. Exactly.
After the first term,
her second
they
term.
Tried, the whole Democratic Party tried to endorse another candidate and get her out, and she still won by like 70% of the vote. So there are people politically around town and otherwise who have never liked her. She doesn't hasn't gotten along well with the police, both department and the labor union, because they've been on opposite ends. She's had trouble with the schools and the school unions.
Oh, yes,
So
yes,
there's a lot of folks that have not liked what she's done, what she's pushed, the position she's taken. Got a lot of political enemies.
A lot.
So,
well, that comes with the territory.
Oh,
when you're in politics, you're going to have political enemies.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Look what we're dealing with the presidency. There's people that are in opposition,
worst.
people that oppose.
Well,
so
it's the constant.
This is what it is.
So so she's been in a rough position. If anything, she gets some peace of mind, which I'm happy for her. I really feel for her in this. It's been a rough ride. 8 years that she's been involved, and it's definitely been a rough ride that that she has gone through in the midst of all this. But certainly, I'm happy for any peace.
I'm sure she is too. Yes, yes.
Because it's tough. It's tough.
It has to be tough.
By the way, she's the first woman ever mayor of Rochester. This is only the second black person.
And she had 2 terms.
Right. And
she served 2 terms.
So I mean,
which is very, very good.
Yeah, she
did a lot of good things for Rochester. Yeah, she did for the community.
Right, and she definitely was one that really, I believe, loved the people, loved the city. She's from this city, which is one of the reasons
grew
people
up in
loved
this
her.
city.
This is not the end. You know, there's, I'm sure more to come for her. She's still young. There's more for her to do.
Yes.
And you know, there have been people that have gone through all kind of crazy things. Some of the people that we see now and know now from the past in higher offices have gone through some crazy stuff. You know, getting there.
Right.
So you know, we'll just have to see what happens from here.
Right.
Good evening, Heather.
Good evening,
Sister Libby.
Hi, Libby.
Got
Hi,
some
Heather.
others that are here. Sister
Hey, Andrea Brown, Sister Queen.
I'm
Hello.
glad y'all found us. 'Cause
Yes.
we had a little bit of a twizzle and twirl happening at the beginning, but
Exactly.
we're here.
But
I'm glad
we're here.
you're here with us as
Yes.
well. So you know, I mean, that's you know, part of that story that's been going on. I think. Again, I'm just happy to see some closure to it, that she gets some peace of mind. She still has the opportunity to make her living coming forth out of this.
Exactly.
And move on with her life.
Exactly. And
You
she
know?
can still do some good things.
Oh, I'm sure she
will.
will.
Exactly.
And so time will tell what's next to come.
Yes.
So that's the local story. There's a few other things that are going on, pretty significant. Speaking of significance, Bubba Wallace.
Now, thank you, Andrea, for
Watson.
helping us out with that.
Bubba Wallace.
We need you all.
I
We need each
don't know
other.
his age or nothing, but I get these things, like, if I get numbers or names that are close together in my head, it's just like, it just flips from one to the next. And
Yes.
so I keep saying Bubba Watson, Bubba Wallace. Bubba
Wallace.
Is a NASCAR driver. He has been in NASCAR now for a few years, and he won his first NASCAR race, at least cup race, last weekend.
28 years old.
28 years old, young
28,
man.
young man, yes.
He is the only listen, he's only the second
Yes.
African American man to win in NASCAR.
Yes.
Only the second to win a Cup Series victory.
Yes.
And that is an amazing thing. The first one was a long time ago. I don't remember the
Right.
year, but it was not within the past few. It
Right.
was decades ago.
Decades, right.
You know,
right.
so there has not been a lot of black drivers at all, and obviously none that have won. So
Right.
congratulations to him for
Right.
winning that.
Right, for being good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to be extra good to be good enough to be accepted
Mm-hmm.
as a NASCAR driver and to win it
Right.
as an African American person. That is a great accomplishment.
Well, you know,
but he dealt with a lot.
he dealt with a lot.
He dealt with a lot.
In fact,
And still won.
Here's the
Yes.
irony. He won this at
Right.
the same track where there was a skirmish in 2 years ago, 2020, because they assigned to them different garages for the race. He went into his
Yes.
garage and there was a noose,
noose.
hanging in his garage.
Could you imagine?
Just last year, in the middle of Black Lives Matter.
Exactly.
All this is going on.
Exactly.
And so, there were people that were just outraged about all this. It became a big issue. It became a big driving force. It and here is one of the reasons why the what is it, flag?
Confederate flag.
Confederate
Yes.
flag
He went on a campaign.
is no longer a part of NASCAR. And y'all know Confederate flags have been a part of NASCAR since the good old boys.
Good, and that's what it is. That's what it is. It is a good old boy network. And he broke barriers.
So the same track a year later, he comes back
and he wins.
And he's the winner. I think that's a pretty amazing story.
It is. It really is.
That's a real turnaround. Now, the interesting thing some people will say is it may be a little bit slighted because the race didn't actually finish. The race was called because of rain, right? So they didn't go through all the way through the race. And when they called it because of rain, he was the one in the lead. And so he, by default, wins. So that happens. So some people might say, well, yeah, he didn't really win. I mean, if he had gone all the way through, somebody would have pushed him or whatever. But bottom line is he got to win.
He got to win.
And, it's also
say what they want.
Very significant because it's a team that, a race car driver does not do this on their own. Typically, they don't even own the car. In some cases,
right.
they race. They're hired for a team. The team is owned by African Americans that own this race car team.
Okay.
So it's a win for the team. One of the owners. One of the owners is Michael Jordan.
Yes, you did say that.
He's one of the owners of the team. And
so he had that support.
Oh yeah.
He had big support.
It's a win both for him as a black driver, and it's also a win for his team. Because it's a victory for all of them to take.
Right.
And that obviously gets some credits, it gets some more money, gets some more sponsorship, et cetera, so forth and so on. So it is a huge victory overall.
Right.
and like I said, in a good old boy type of world,
Right.
he comes through and he makes this achievement. Very young. He said 23,
28.
28.
28.
So hopefully this is not the only time, but the first time
Yeah.
of many. And so we have to support him now,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Representing.
For representing, right, and for standing up
Right.
against
And-
all odds.
Yeah, and for standing and going through all this stuff that's going
Exactly.
up. Because there's has been a lot of resistance, a lot of change,
Yes.
and a lot of change has been made because of him standing in there and representing, right? Because I won't go any deeper than that, but
Yes.
it's a monumental thing for him to be out there. So congratulations, everybody knows the name,
Yes.
Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace. Yes.
And we'll represent with him. We got to buy his number and his coats and all that stuff. The hats with the
Bubba.
colors.
Wait a minute. He went in
Bubba.
and the Good Old Boys Network. Bubba.
Bubba. You got to say that with a deep voice.
You can say it, Bubba.
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 You gotta get
What's
real.
up, Bubba?
You gotta get down there.
Yes.
For that. So, all right.
Yes, Bubba.
I'll meet him sometime. How you doing, Bubba?
What's up, Bubba?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Boys just start getting deep.
Bubba, you did that.
So glad to meet you, man. Yeah. What's up, Bubba? All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we talked about Bubba enough. Okay, let's keep
Bubba.
going. What else is going on? We switch over and we
Okay.
talk a little bit about more interesting stuff happening with COVID and vaccines and all this stuff, So now there's new reports out that the COVID vaccine from Pfizer actually loses a lot of its efficacy over the course of time. And so they've been questioning this. Obviously, they've been testing and monitoring people for some time. But now the indication is that the efficacy drops a lot more than people expected over time. So what they're saying right now is that within 6 months, it goes down from 88% effective after the first month to 47% effective. That's like half
That's something right.
of the efficacy,
That is.
which means that 50% of the people that had the vaccine and would have been protected now are actually showing up with the virus. So that's significant drop. But the good news is that even though people are being detected with the virus, still their symptoms are much lower.
Right, they're not as severe.
Oh, you got a booster
They're not
already.
severe.
Libby says she got a booster already.
All right.
She boosted,
Okay.
keeping it rolling.
All right.
So even though its efficacy of stopping you from getting the virus is lower, it's still keeping people out of hospitals.
Right.
And it's still keeping
Keeping
people
them
from dying.
alive.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, that's absolutely significant.
Right.
And, so people, come up with, the real question, do I really need this to take this? And, do I might as well just go without it? The effects of keeping you from getting severely sick, going in the hospital, being on a ventilator, dying,
Yes.
make it
lessened.
still worth it.
Yes.
Make it definitely still worth
lessened
it.
dramatically.
So we haven't heard this on the J&J, on J&J shot yet. They've had
Johnson
some data.
Johnson.
They've had some data on J&J. They haven't had much on the Merck shot yet.
What about
but this
the,
is
Pfizer?
the Pfizer one here. That
Pfizer.
now they're sharing this information on. This becomes an incentive to follow Libby
And get the booster.
and get the booster.
Yes.
But it also just has to make you question a little bit. Okay. Now this information comes out that basically enforces or endorses what they have said they wanted to do anyway. This is why people get spun up in the head about the government.
Right.
Oh, it just happens that now the data that comes up actually ties to the fact that they've been already saying you're going to want to get boosters. We need to get boosters. We need to ready to give you boosters. And so, now they say, okay, we got a data set that proves it. So, and by the way, it's Pfizer, the company that makes this stuff, that's saying this, who, by the way, is incented to have people keep getting shots because they keep making money.
They keep making money. And Pfizer is now FDA approved.
They're FDA approved.
They
for
are
it.
so
And
far,
now
but
they're-
aren't they the only ones thus far
well,
that are FDA approved
for
right
the
now?
booster or for the regular shot?
For the regular.
For the regular shot, they might be. I know they are. I don't know if I know Merck was next in line.
They were next, but I think
so I don't
Pfizer
know
was
if
the
they.
first.
I think they're still all on emergency approval. But Pfizer, it's an incentive for them. It's good news for them
Right.
to say, oh yeah, the stuff. It's like if you sell printers
Right.
and you sell ink. And your ink runs out faster,
Right.
that's actually better for the person that's
Exactly.
selling the ink, right?
Exactly.
So they're not incented to give you long-lasting ink cartridges.
Exactly.
They're incented to give you ones that, oh yeah, it works out. You buy certain things, you buy cars, you buy these devices, and they only last so long. They last just as long as the warranty.
Exactly.
And then they just, right?
And then they just conk
It's
out.
like, oh,
it's something
how
like
about that?
our telephones,
Right?
you know.
Uh-huh.
We
Right?
are prompted to get a newer version because they so quickly change. And they're like, okay,
and they die.
I need to get a new updated one.
Right?
Exactly.
And so,
They die out.
they have said, I can't prove it, but it's been said many times, well, there's some correlation to it, that, they'll make a device to last only a certain period of time.
Amount of time.
And there are ways you can do that because you can make things with such a way that, they're going to last for so long. You can test that out.
Right.
Certain connections, certain contacts, certain types of materials you use.
Certain updates.
Right.
You have to update it.
Think about how many people, your phone surface cracks within how many years, right? You get as much cover on it as you want. Sooner or later,
going to crack.
you get a crack, and when it cracks, it's gone, right?
Right.
Every 2 or 3 years,
Or it's going to malfunction.
Or it's going to malfunction.
It's going to malfunction.
Right, something. So
Yes.
things are designed that way oftentimes,
Right.
and they, because they can make it. Like, remember the old cars? The old cars
Oh, my goodness.
would never die.
They were made of
They
steel.
were steel tanks.
They were steel.
Right?
Right.
Stuff didn't rust apart every year.
Right.
Stuff
You can
didn't fall
hit
off.
it and it still keeps going.
It used to be if you got a car accident, you hit somebody else, boom, you just bounced off and kept
it
yeah, I
going.
got a little dent. Keep
Exactly.
moving. Now you bump into somebody at 5 miles an hour
Brakes.
and the whole front bumper falls off. The wheel
Fiberglass.
drops down, the thing falls apart.
It falls apart, right.
So you can make something last longer.
Right.
It costs more.
Exactly.
So you cut costs and make that trade-off of it not lasting as long. And that actually is a good thing for the person selling it because, hey, you're going to need to buy another one in 2 years or 5 years. And so I keep sales going.
Right.
So this is the question with this data now coming out. It almost sounds too aligned to what they say they wanted to happen or expected to happen to believe, and that's the question. Now, I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm a science guy. I would lean toward the science. I would get the booster shot. Okay?
Yeah.
I'd rather be safe than sorry when it comes to that. Everybody's not going to do that. But this goes back to why people get so suspicious.
Right.
When it comes to, are they leading you like lambs to slaughter, leading you down the way the road they want you on?
Right.
Do they want you to build up some kind of dependency instead of, resistance?
Exactly. And what are they really doing? Right.
Yeah.
That's the question.
What they did with opioids. This is the flip they did with opioids. And there's actually, I wish I could see it. There's a show coming out on Hulu, streaming, about the opioid epidemic, talking about the companies that produced, that designed and developed and marketed opioids. Some of them have gone out of business now because the government went after them the past couple of years, and they literally had to go out of business because they had to pay for damages for all the people who have been addicted to opioids over these years. Okay. I wish I could get that. It's on Hulu. So if anybody ever gets Hulu for me, thank you. We'll be able to watch it. But it's that's essentially what they did was they told all the doctors, they told all the professionals, look, this drug is going to help people that are in intense pain. Right? This is going to help their pain. And all the stuff about addiction, they just blocked and hid all that when they brought this out.
They brought it out.
So they told the doctors, here's the next generation pain reliever. It's great. It works. People are without pain. Yeah, they're without pain already.
Yeah, they were feeling no pain.
But what they didn't, weren't frontward with is that
the addiction,
the
how
addiction
addictive it was.
And so people, and this is what this show is about. I wish I could see it because it shows
We'll
how
have to
many.
Get Hulu. I'll get Hulu there.
For 1 month.
There's something else I want to see too.
But it shows how just normal people. It wasn't just a matter of people who got hooked on drugs, but people who went in for surgeries, people who had other chronic injuries, people who have been in accidents, right? Things like that. this became a drug of choice to give those people because of the intense pain associated with their issues. And so you have people just getting hooked on this. And it's no longer just the drug addict around the corner. It's the housewife sitting up at home. It's
Wow.
it's the sports athlete
Yes.
who was a professional athlete, would have never touched drugs, but now he's addicted to all these different types of things. That's what they did, was they sucked people in. It's, again, stuff like this misinformation type of strategy that gets people highly suspicious.
Right.
So I never,
Right.
you know, I don't blame people for being suspicious about all this stuff, because people have given us a lot of reasons to, both in terms of the science and in terms of the politics. But realistically, I still personally think that it is the right thing for the situation, and it's the right way to go. And now you have this all being pushed on people more and more intensely. It's, right now, most of the airlines are mandating that their employees
Right.
get vaccinated.
Exactly.
Right? The schools, we know, are pushing that way. The state
Exactly.
government is pushing that way. The federal government is pushing for mandates vaccines. Now I've just got some information last week. The government had been mandating that any company that has a government contract get 100% vaccinated of their people in order to maintain their government contract. It was for companies that were 100 people and more. But now there's a new mandate that was for people that work with the federal government. Now they're saying for people who have defense contracts in particular, regardless of your size, you got to have this mandate, and you have to validate to the government that your people are 100% vaccinated. So now they're pushing on us to go back to our people,
Right.
and push them to get vaccinated
it.
and to prove it.
Prove it.
Yes. So it's the push is absolutely coming from every direction. Is it for the better good? Perhaps, but the push makes it really, really hard for people to get comfortable with this type of thing, especially when it's being pushed in like this. It'll eventually subside. It'll become reality, just like it is with every other vaccine.
Every other
we take,
vaccine, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But for now, this push is really making a lot of people highly uncomfortable. So where are you guys at? Certainly, Sister Libby said she's boosted up. Right? What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? How comfortable are you? Are you on the side of going forward? I know most people in our areas have been vaccinated. A lot of people haven't. Some people still have to make that choice. But what do you think about this? When you see this kind of data coming through, does it make you more nervous? Does it make you more urgent? How does it impact you? The good news, again, is that it appears that with the vaccine, even though you may get the virus, and which means you got to watch when you go out. You got to go back to masks and stuff like that.
Right.
Careful around people, social distancing. It may be a little harder for you to get it, but you can get it. So you got to be conscious of going to these great public events and hanging out in all these places. You still got to be watchful, even if you're taking the vaccine. But the good news is, if you do take it, the chance you're going to get extensively sick is much lower.
Right.
So then there's one more add to
lessened.
this,
Yeah.
and that's from Merck now, the other big company in this. And they now have come up with a pill,
Right.
which is an antiviral pill that you can take to help with treatment. Don't know if everybody's heard about this yet, but this pill that they're making right now is an antiviral. You can take it at home. It's actually designed to be taken at home instead of being taken in the hospital. So for people that do get the virus, they have a treatment now, which is supposed to be highly effective at helping you get over the virus. They're saying about 50% of the people that take this don't go to the hospital.
Right.
Half of the ones that take it don't go to the hospital, and death nearly 100% reduced. Right. So it looks good. They're also going for emergency use now, and they tested this on people who hadn't even taken the vaccine.
Okay.
And they saw these significant reductions. So if you've taken the vaccine and you have to be treated, clearly this should have an even better effect,
Right.
in terms of keeping you safe and from getting seriously sick. So there's some positive news out there in
That's
terms of things that are continuing to come on board to help, to treat, to help keep us from getting severely sick. And that's really the bottom line.
Exactly.
We don't
want to go on ventilators.
Right. If this was like the flu or like a cold, and you got a little something and you got the sniffles and you stayed home a couple of days, there wouldn't be all this fanfare over it.
Right.
But because this is a killer disease and it kills young people as well as adults, this is the reason why there's such a more significant push to say, hey guys, we need to do some things to get this under control.
Right.
And the other risk, by the way, of this is if you don't stop it, it's a variant where it keeps changing.
Keeps changing. It keeps getting stronger.
It keeps getting worse.
Exactly.
It can get more contagious. It
More
can
deadly.
get more deadly. And so the seriousness of stopping this before it gets worse is another one of the drives to say why we really need to, to actively continue to come up with things.
Right.
That help people out in the middle of this, So if there are people, we've always said there may be people that say, you know what, I'm not going to get the shot. I'm not comfortable with that. You don't want to punish those people. I've always said it's a choice that if you don't want to get the vaccine, then your other option is you gotta mask up, you gotta stay away,
right.
you gotta protect yourself and protect others around you.
Yes,
you're taking a risk. Right, you need to take on that level of accountability for that decision. Right. So you can take the vaccine. You have one level of risk. If you don't, you have a higher level of risk, and you put other people in risk. And for the good of everybody, you need to take precautions for yourself and for those around you.
Right.
So it's not a penalization of people who choose not to take it. It's another life choice, and they need to be accountable in based on that life choice. But this is also something now that continues to help them. In terms of, look, if I'm taking that choice, if I do get sick, I don't want to, I'm trying to avoid it, trying to do the things I need to do, but if I do get sick, there's another alternative to help me from having the option of going to the hospital and going through all that craziness. Right? So, I mean, it's good that they're continuing to develop things like this. I'm sure they'll continue to develop more. That's the nature of science and pharmacies. And hopefully we get this under control.
Hopefully.
Because I don't know about y'all, but I'm kind of tired of this.
I am too. Enough.
People buried in their homes and won't go out and can't talk to nobody, and you can't see anybody because everybody's got their masks on half the time. This is rough and tough.
It is. It has been for too long now.
And we don't want to be in this forever, right?
No.
We got other things to do.
Yes, we do.
Annual booster is more than likely where this is going to end up. More than likely. In fact, they're talking about a combination now of flu and COVID shot. They're talking about a combo shot. And so in the future, that more than likely will happen. Right now, they're still segregated out. Flu shots are starting up now, by the way, too. And just for everybody's warning, they're suggesting that the flu might be more severe to people this year because so many people were not exposed last year.
Right.
And so just like COVID. The flu variants too. And it rapidly changes every year. And so it comes at you a different way. If you haven't been exposed to a variant similar to it, then the concern is it may be have a more severe impact on people as well. So that may or may not be true. That's a science theory, but all things to be considered in terms of what's happening around. You got flu shots coming out. You have booster shots coming out. First time shots for other people. Lots of shots. Lots of shots going on. Get those arms ready for lots of shots, right? So, I mean, those are all things to be conscious and careful of, but hopefully, we get into a place where things are getting a little better. Most of the signs right now of positivity are flat or trending down. So that's positive. Until we, when this time of year, when we start going in-house more and staying away from each other, it gets a little bit better. But this time last year is when it kicked up again. And part of the reason last year was they sent all the kids home from school right about now.
Exactly.
And they went home and they were frustrated. There's college kids and stuff like that. So
that
they started hanging out and doing parties in October. And between now and October 31st, the rates started ramping up into the end of the year, and then November, December, January, it peaked again. So it doesn't mean that we're completely out of this yet. We got to be conscious. But, and yes, Thanksgiving, all the Thanksgiving and Christmas travel, New Year's travel, all that stuff tied into people traveling, getting together. I think it's going to be a little bit different this year because, again, so many people have been vaccinated. But when people start moving into these groupings again, it causes mobility of the virus.
Exactly.
And things like that. So right now, it's not died off, but it's level. Here in this area, it's around a little under 4%, which is higher than we like it to be. In New York State, it's about 2.5%. You want it to be, if you keep it below 2%, that's generally pretty good. Other parts of the country, higher or lower. So it continues on, but it's not dead and it's not gone. And so we have to continue to be conscious and careful of everything we do and the decisions that we make. So that's kind of where everything's at. I think that wraps it up. We had a rough day today with this show.
We had
For those
a
of
day.
you that were on at the beginning, we apologize because we were as soon as we got ready to kick off the show, like countdown of like 30 seconds or less, all of a sudden Facebook froze my account.
Froze.
And so the show could not stream because the count froze. And so we had to re-get control of the account, reset it, and start it all over again. So sorry about that confusion. We were confused too. That's why we were
what's going on?
Trying to get things. That's why Bubba Wallace came out.
Yeah.
And a few other things. I'm gonna blame it on that. And this and a few other things. But we got it together.
Yes.
I think we're about done for the night. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for those caught up. For those who catch up later with us. When you see a lot of craziness at the beginning, like us speaking and nothing coming out.
No one can hear us. The mic wasn't on.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
People thought it was their telephone, but it was us.
Apologize.
But we made it. We made it. We're here.
Made it through.
We made it through.
Now we got to go and recover from all this stress.
Yes.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Looking forward to everybody tomorrow.
Yes.
Getting ready to come out to church again tomorrow. Hey, we're continuing the series that we started. Where is it? The series that we started last Sunday on Get Your Faith Back.
Yes.
This Sunday we're going to talk about how to get your faith back. So join us this Sunday and we will be sharing with you about that and continuing in this series. Bible study continues on Wednesday night. Wednesday night we're talking, had a really good week last Wednesday, talking about this transition in 1st and 2nd Samuel. We're about almost done with 1st Samuel now. And now we're moving into the era, out of the era of Saul and into the era of King David. So this is not the Twilight Zone. Hey G, how you doing, man? Good to see you. I think it is. I'm not sure, man. But
we wonder sometimes.
This goes on
Things
Wednesday.
have been so strange.
Yeah. So
strange occurrences.
So join us on Wednesday. Also, don't forget to connect up with our YouTube page. On the YouTube page, subscribe to the page, and you will get the edited version of this show.
Yes.
Tonight.
You will not get the beginning
instead of all the
what
chaos
we went through.
that we've been going through.
Yeah.
So join us for all these things. All this stuff is coming up.
Hey, but we made it, man.
We made it. We made it. We survived.
We survived it.
We're back.
The devil was defeated.
We're at it again. Okay. So hope everybody enjoyed themselves. Make sure and tell somebody about the show. Share it with somebody and tell them we'll be back next week. We'll see everybody tomorrow, 11:30 a.m.
Yes.
Come and join us. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Laid up in the sick room. The doctor said.